Well, it's 2024 and there's all sorts of things going on around this world that lead me to believe that it is very important that you stockpile two particular calibers. What are the two? We're going to talk about it next. But first, I want to take a moment and, of course, thank our sponsor, Jace Medical, for not only supporting this channel, but making what I believe to be by far the best prep you can make. Having emergency antibiotics on hand for your entire family, all sorts of different antibiotics, as well as now they provide your chronic meds, those meds that you have to take every day, specifically because of some condition you might have. And Jace Medical comes from a U.S. doctor and a U.S. pharmacy. That link is below, and save $10 with our coupon code. Well, here we are in 2024, and this year has already proven to be quite a ride. There are so many things going on in this country, particularly when it revolves around the Second Amendment, our access to guns, our limits on magazines, but particularly, and what we're going to talk about in this video is our access to ammo this year, because something, of course, we've been talking about on this channel for the last year is really the lack of ammo being produced for civilians in this country. And I want to take a moment and say, should you stockpile ammo in 2024? And I'm going to mention two particular calibers that you definitely should be stockpiling in 2024. Well, let's start with that you should already be stockpiled. I'm going to argue that, unless you're a new gun owner over the last couple years, you probably have ammo stockpiled. Chances are in 2020, you stockpiled ammo, and when it finally became available, you stockpiled more. So hopefully, most of you are saying, this is not my problem. I already got my ammo, because I will say when it comes to these two calibers, if you were to ask me, are you stockpiled? I'd say, yeah, but when it comes to these two calibers, one of them I am not, and I'm definitely going to focus on it. I'm not just going to say it, I'm going to do it as well. So these are the two calibers that I highly recommend you stockpile in 2024. And both of these are based off of what's really taking place when it comes to the federal production of ammo, mostly coming out of Lake City Ammo, because I mentioned months ago, they're not going to renew new civilian contracts. And now you have 20 states, attorney generals writing the White House saying, put an end to civilian ammo production once and for all. Just put that nail in that coffin and be done with it. So these two particular calibers are not only the two most popular calibers in this country, but they're also the two that they produce at Lake City Ammo. And they're also two that are being used throughout the world when it comes to warfare and when it comes to policing the world. So we're going to start with number one, 5.56. If you're not stockpiled on 5.56, you're running out of time. This particular caliber is going to be very limited. Well, how do you know? Well, for one, it's being used all over the world in wars. There's already a shortage on it when it comes to providing for the military. When you look at civilian ammo manufacturers of that particular caliber, well, both these calibers, they're really working around the clock producing government ammo, and very little time is actually being spent on civilian ammo. So 5.56 for sure. Chances are it's the most popular sporting rifle caliber in this country. So most of us need to be stocking up on 5.56. Personally, I'm sitting just fine on it. But my problem is the next caliber I highly recommend you stockpile in 2024 is 9mm. 9mm is by far the most popular handgun round in this country, and by far the most popular handgun round in the world. It's also, like the 5.56, a NATO cartridge. So ultimately what you have is again, military and police forces all over this world using it, some of them in extremely high volume, particularly over in Ukraine, now in Israel, both these calibers. So these are the two that I'm going to say, you're running out of time. There's going to be a point where I believe, and I hope I'm wrong. Obviously, I'm not predicting the future, just what I see so far. I've been talking about it for a while now, and we're only seeing the dominoes fall the way that, that they are going to fall, because there hasn't been ammunition efforts like this in our country since World War II. And I've said this it's not just the ammunition, it's also the munitions, because those 110 millimeter shells take the same components, just much, much larger quantities of them. So, all of this problem really revolves around a raw material issue. Well, who's going to ultimately get it? The government's going to get it, which is exactly why you need to stockpile 5.56 and 9 millimeter in 2024. And again, I hope I'm wrong. And if I am, you just have a bunch of ammo on hand. It's kind of a win-win either way. Any thoughts or insight on that? Definitely put it below. Would like to take a moment and say that most people watch this channel, they're not subscribers to the channel. Please take a moment, hit that subscribe button. It greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get these messages out. That link is below. But the most important part of this channel, we take prayer requests, so never hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.